Have you ever wondered why some guys struggle to attract younger women? And trust me, man, it's not money, it's something much, much deeper. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you the 6 things that most men like totally get wrong that turns young women off. And this is something that I help my clients usually with as well. So watch the video on full screen and enjoy.
Mistake number one is looking old and like vibrating in a low energy and low vibrational state. Yeah. So I want you to understand that age is just a number for women, but what they mostly care about is to experience and feel your energy. And I see so many guys nowadays, they look like 10, 15 years older than they actually are because they totally wrecked themselves by living the wrong lifestyle. And let me ask you this, bro, like if you have to choose between a clean and shiny Aston Martin versus a rundown Aston Martin, you would always go for the clean and shiny Aston Martin, obviously, because yeah, it looks more appealing, right? And why, if you were to choose that Aston Martin, the clean and shiny one, over a rundown Aston Martin, why would you ask a woman to not do the same? And obviously, this is an analogy for you being the Aston Martin. If you look like a rundown Aston Martin, it's unattractive because yeah, it conveys lack of self-respect, lack of self-care, so to say, and that makes you not a great partner. It makes you actually a shit partner for like a long-term relationship, for a happy relationship, because you convey that you just can't take care of yourself. You wreck yourself, which violates her prime desire for physical safety and also actually like emotional safety, because if you work so much, you're totally stressed, and you like play hard but don't recover hard, bro, it conveys that you cannot be trusted with your own life. So if you cannot be trusted with your own life, how is she supposed to trust you with her life, so to say, and her feminine energy, And I used to be like this, bro, as well. Like when I was working in finance, man, like I was going out every weekend. I was like blackout drunk every weekend. I was doing like the powder as well, bro, And I looked like, when I look back at pictures, bro, or maybe I'm gonna blend them in as well, bro, I looked horrible, man. Why? Because I was engaging in the wrong habits, I was eating junk food, and I just looked like a piece of shit. Even though on paper I was like great catch, 6 figures, high status job, yada yada yada. But I struggled to attract good women and good relationships because I was just a mess, So the way to look younger and increase your vitality and increase your vibration, bro, is to do a habit audit. Yeah, that's the first thing I would do if I were you right now, which is to write down all the habits that you engage in and the foods that you kind of eat, and then you label them via whether or not they are constructive or destructive. Yeah. So for instance, when it comes to food, are you eating whole foods? Are you eating junk foods? Junk food? Are you using seed oils or olive oil when you cook? Are you constantly eating out? How much sugar do you eat? How much alcohol do you drink? I stopped drinking, bro, for almost, I don't know, I've lost track, 1.5 years now. I was an alcoholic, almost borderline alcoholic, and like my skin looks so much better, and I feel so much better, and because I feel so much better, I haven't increased. My vibration is more attractive to women, and I attract healthy women. I wouldn't attract like a party girl because I don't want that, because I don't have the party lifestyle, right? So this is in terms of foods, for instance, but then also in habits. Okay, again, like how often do you hit the gym? How consistent are you with your diet? How consistent are you with let's say your thoughts, actually, Like, are you constantly negative? Are you like spiraling into like self-judgment, self-hatred when things don't go your way? Are you easy to anger? Those are also beliefs and habits that you engage in that make you look less attractive. Point number 2 that makes you look less attractive is acting like a boy and throwing emotional tantrums. So if you're 25 years and older, you are expected to be a functioning adult who could and is capable of controlling his emotions and regulating his emotions. Now, I see too many guys who turn from Bruce Banner to Hulk in split seconds because they have so much suppressed anger that then turns into rage because they've never expressed that anger. Yeah. And that makes you totally unattractive because it, first of all, conveys that you have an emotional immaturity. And fun fact, women are drawn and hyper attracted to emotional maturity. Yeah. because emotions are what matters to women. It's not like logic and looks only. Emotions are psychological factors are the #1 trait that women are looking for in men, and emotional maturity happens to be the top one actually. Now, and why is that actually? Because when you are losing your shit over the smallest things, or you can't express your emotions, and then you turn into this ticking time bomb, you know, like into your Hulk over the smallest things, it violates her prime desire of emotional safety and also physical safety. Because if you cannot be trusted with her, with your own emotions, right, that means that she will not feel safe enough to emotionally open up to you, to emotionally connect to you, and especially surrender into your feminine energy. Why is that? Because if you're a ticking time bomb, yeah, who doesn't have his emotions under control and could turn into Hulk any second, she's going to feel subconsciously in danger. So she's always going to have her guard up to make sure that you are like not hurting her emotionally, for instance, or even physically, you know. Because also remember, like physically, men are like superior to women in terms of physical strength, right? So that's also a concern a lot of women have. So that's why emotional maturity and being able to regulate your emotions is so fucking important. I'm going to give you a quick fix for this in a second. It's actually not a quick fix. You have to do it over like consistently over time, but then it will help you. I'm going to give you a quick story with this. I used to be the guy who totally lost his shit like so often when I was around 25, by the way. When I was like, one story at the business school, man, that was a fancy business school. I paid $50,000 out of my own pocket. I took a credit, like a crazy loan out of that to attend this business school, 1% business school. And I snapped at the receptionist because I forgot my card and she didn't want to let me in. And bro, I snapped for like 5 minutes. I was yelling at her, bro. I was yelling at her, man. And I had to talk to the dean. I was almost expelled, and they said like, you have to take anger management classes. And I found an excuse why I was acting that way. So I didn't have to take the anger management classes, but bro, that was actually embarrassing. And another incident was in finance, bro, when I was working in financial sales, man. Like at one point I took the pencil holder. I was so angry. I crushed it on my keyboard and then I threw it across the floor, bro, and I hit a couple of colleagues. I had to be sent off the floor for 15 minutes, man. And I had to talk to my team leader. Not a nice conversation to have either. I almost put my career on the line there because I couldn't control myself, bro. And the reason why I couldn't control myself, because the reason why I was always turning to this Hulk was because I didn't have any tools to work on my emotions, because I was brought up as suck it up, suck it up, you're a man, you don't feel anything. Fuck off, fly. You know? So obviously, after those incidents, I started working on myself. And one of the most powerful tools that I use, bro, that helped me prevent myself to turn into a Hulk at any point in time was journaling with specific prompts, specific questions. Journaling every morning. There's no time frame or journal for 5-10 minutes. Just ask yourself those questions. What made me angry yesterday? What made me proud? Yeah. And what are specific situations that trigger me? Those 3 questions are powerful because it allows you to release that anger and put it on paper. Write it down, buy a nice notebook. I buy Moleskine, it's a nice brand, where you can write it down with a proper pen or whatever it's called. It's different, there's some neurological science behind that, that writing it down by hand rather than just typing it up is more powerful. But I made my point. Journaling every morning. What am I angry at? What was I angry at? What triggered me most? And what am I proud of? To balance sort of the negative energy with the positive energy, and that will help you prevent to turn into Hulk. Mistake number 3, lack of masculine frame and pedestalizing her. This is one of the biggest issues that I see men struggle with when they're with an attractive woman. And yeah, man, if you want help with fixing that, I'd love to see you in my Hercules program. I have a killer program with elite guys in there that we're all striving to become the best possible version of ourselves without it being boring. It's not therapy. It's not some superficial shit here. It's actually fun growth, gamified growth, where we have weekly challenges And yeah, if you want to join, bro, the link is somewhere in the description. So if you want to become a Hercules and live the best possible life, man, I'd love to see you. And yeah, surround yourself with high achieving guys. With that being said, let's get into the lack of masculine frame that women find unattractive. So younger women want a leader, not a fan. And most men, unfortunately, violate this king-queen dynamic that these women are looking for by becoming needy, by becoming clingy, by losing their confidence, by going from being assertive, witty, charming to like needy, dependent on her, you know? And that signals to her that there's a lack of confidence and lack of self-esteem, which she equals with a lack of competence. And if there's one thing women hate, it is a man that is incompetent, because it essentially like makes her respect you less. And a woman cannot be attracted to you if she cannot respect you, you know? Why is that? Because when you are incompetent, you violate the basic principles of what she's looking for, which is she's looking for direction. She wants to see that you have a plan for your own life. She wants to see the vision for you too, you know? And she wants to build an empire with you, you know? She's not like lazy. She's ambitious. She wants to like create some like a crazy empire with you and create this ride or die story together, you know? And she doesn't want a control freak, by the way. I see a lot of guys think that when you're leading the relationship, you're telling her what to do. No. You're inspiring like her to actually, through providing direction and a vision for you, to like providing this story of this relationship, of a ride or die relationship, so to say. You're allowing her to like step into her authentic self. You allow her to flourish herself, you know, because you two, it's almost like a 1 + 1 = 5 dynamic, because you're both keeping each other, holding each other accountable, and trying to build the most beautiful castle as the king and queen. But if you are pedestalizing her, you are actually like resigning from the throne of the king, and you're stepping down from king to servant, and she now has to step up to the king, to become the king, because yeah, no one's running the castle, you know? And unfortunately, that would piss her off. And not unfortunately, fortunately, because you know what you do? You deny her feminine energy. Because now in the dynamic of two, in a romantic dynamic, yeah, let's call it a relationship, can be a situationship, whatever, there has to be X amount of masculine and like 100% of, let's say, polarity. Yeah? And polarity is created by creating masculine versus feminine energy. Now, if you deny the relationship, the masculine energy, someone has to balance that out and compensate for that, and that has to be her, you know? So ideally, you want to be in your masculine energy 80% of the time, you know, so that she can be in her feminine energy 80% of the time, because she only has to be in her masculine energy 20% of the time, right? Because it has to equal 100%. Anyways, let's not get into fucking maths here. So fundamentally, when you lose your masculine frame, you deny her feminine energy, which is her authentic self, and you also deny your authentic self, because you put on a role, a persona to please her. So what you need to start learning is to ask yourself, like, okay, actually the way to fix your masculine frame in any relationship with a woman is by actually doing deeper work, bro. It's not like, oh yeah, just say no more often. Yeah, bro, the reason, you know that you need to do that, but the reason why you cannot do it is because you're insecure. You have insecurities from childhood, from toxic breakups you haven't processed, yada yada yada. So one question that you should ask yourself to like discover why you lack this masculine frame is, why does her opinion of me matter more than my own opinion of myself? That will trigger a lot of, let's say, thoughts inside of you, and will activate your subconscious to actually sort of start thinking about, like, why am I so dependent on a woman the moment I catch feelings, you know? And once you start uncovering all this, and as I said, if you want help with this, support and guidance on this, bro, join my Hercules program. And once you start like peeling back the layers of insecurities that you carry with you, that we all have, you know, I was one of the most needy guys, and with one of the girls, like Marie was her name. Like I couldn't, like if she didn't text me back for 2 hours, I lost my shit, you know. When she once she was so busy, she was an investment banker, she didn't call me at night, and I thought, oh, she's going out, she's cheating. No, she was fucking busy until 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. working, you know. But that was because I was losing my masculine frame. Obviously, we didn't work out. Surprise, surprise. So yeah, ask yourself this question, because once you understand why you don't like respect yourself and why you don't have a high opinion of yourself, that will then allow you to actually start saying no more often, provide the direction, vision for the relationship, and not being dependent on her. Number 4, leading with money. And this might sound counterintuitive, but you cannot buy love, bro. This is a simple fact. I'm not saying that money won't help in the dating or in the like dating process in a relationship, but it is not the ultimate criteria that determines attraction. Why? Money can help you get attention, but it does not build attraction. Trust me, bro, I worked in finance, I made really good money, but it didn't help me to keep women attracted. There's a specific scientific reason for that, that I'll explain in a second. But I see it also with a lot of my clients who are making multiple 6 figures, and they are like leading, they used to lead with money, and they got plenty of dates, bro. Plenty of numbers, plenty of dates, but it never turned into something real. Why? Because most of the dates were coming for the money. They invited them to fancy places. Hey, I want to go to this rooftop. I want to go to this bar by the river with an amazing view over Dubai, over London, over, I don't know, New York or whatever, you know. But then the women came for the experience, for the place, not for you, you know. And also what is a massive game changer is for you to understand that if you like just lead with money, you create like a transactional relationship, and you will attract a lot of gold diggers, you know. And that is, again, they are there for your wallet, but they're not there for you. And if someone comes along with a bigger wallet, they will go to that bigger wallet, you know. So they're attracted to that experience, but not you. And a lot of women actually that are like good women they find it a turn off if a man leads with money, because it means that there's a lack of personality, and it conveys that you're insecure about yourself. Because if you need money to get their attention and attract them, what are you compensating for, bro? You know? And money doesn't give you a personality. And actually, I've seen that with a couple of guys who, I mean, especially in banking, bro, in finance, a lot of guys, they go on a date and they're like, oh yeah, I live in this amazing penthouse, I have this condo, I make X amount of money, I travel to so many destinations. It's like, bro, are you so needy that you need to impress me with all of these achievements and things that you do and experiences that you do, that like, don't you have anything else to offer? What about your like personality? Is your money and is your job your personality? And that's super unattractive to women, because it just reflects or signals that, yeah, that you have nothing else going for you, bro. And one more point, and this is the scientific theory that I would like to sort of highlight here, is that it's called the diminishing return. Over time, money will lose its like unit of happiness it creates. Yeah. Ask yourself, bro, how often or how long does it take you to not be excited about the new pair of sneakers that you buy? I see that with so many celebrities, they buy like fucking 100 pairs of sneakers and they don't even wear them, and they just, at some point, they just like look at them and whatever, you know. It's because money at some point will lose its value in terms of power to create more happiness. And it's the same with women, you know. If like, how many Gucci bags until she gets tired of it, and how many fancy dinner places and steakhouses until she gets like tired of it. It's like, yeah, whatever. She's just stuck on her phone when she goes to you in the next to the next steakhouse with you, or whatever fancy bar, you know. So fundamentally, ask yourself why, to fix this like money leading in dating or a relationship. ask yourself, what are you lacking within? What are you compensating for with your money? Because if you don't fix this, you will either only attract gold diggers or toxic relationships, because most women then will only stay with you for the money rather than you. And when shit hits the fan, she's gone, bro. And Sandra is with me not because of the money, because of my personality. And most of the women that would been with me were there for me, not the money, because I never led with money. When I started my business, at some point I was making zero cash. I had like really good months, but also like really bad months. I was 2 months without making any cash. I couldn't pay rent anymore. Guess who paid rent? Sandra. Guess who's still with me? My girlfriend Sandra, you know? So because I didn't lead with money, I led with my personality. Take number 5, and this is going to be a quick one, is like having low quality male friends. So the problem here is not that you have friends, but the quality of your friends. Because most guys are just like, they're like emotionally immature. They don't want to work on themselves. They're fucking lazy. Yeah? And if you surround yourself with these friends, you will become one of them again. Because I mean, based on neuroscience and mirror neurons, without going into that, like you are, there's a quote, you show me your friends and I'll show you the man you are. You know, you become who you surround yourself with. I can throw 500 other quotes on you. Actually, I can't, because I don't remember any other. But fundamentally, be mindful about who you surround yourself with. I don't want to shame your friends that aren't working on themselves. They just choose to live an average life, but it will drag you down. It will hold you back if you want to become a more successful person. So I would limit the time that you spend with these people. Yeah, and you don't need to shame or judge them, by the way. It's their choice, you know. And the reason, so this is one reason, like the low quality of friends that will be a threat to you, because they will drag you down, which will then have an impact on the relationship with her. Then I see this also with a lot of guys nowadays, like, and I've suffered from this myself, was like a lack of social, like lack of actually male friends, good male friends. You know, it's not even the quantity, but actually having someone like to talk to that is a man, you know. And why is this unattractive? Because it conveys that you have a lack of social skills. Because why the fuck can you not keep like male friends around, you know? And also, and especially, actually, let's come back to the low quality man of friends. Like when you're on your growth journey, I've lost so many friends, bro, because yeah, like they all like to drink every weekend, take drugs, whatever. And I'm not that kind of guy anymore, you know. I'm building a business. They're happy with their like low achieving career, you know. It's not even that 9 to 5 is bad, but they just don't want to try hard, you know. And that's why they keep fucking up their lives, because they're unhappy. I know that. But when you grow, you lose a lot of old friends, and like it's up to you to actually expose yourself to circles with ambitious friends, you know. And I'm doing that here now in Marbella, where I like talk to like I'm going to like a very expensive gym, because I know that a lot of the like entrepreneurs are there, and I already like played paddle with some of the guys there. I regularly like see them at the gym. We train together, you know. And that's how I make sure that I have exposed myself to like quality male friends, you know, to like that are ahead of me, you know. And that allows also me to not spend 24/7 with Sandra, as well as not burdening her with some of the conversations that I actually don't want to have with her, but I keep having with her if I wouldn't have another like male person in my life, you know. So long story short, find a circle of men, can be online, digital, or maybe at your gym, your local gym, whatever, that you can potentially turn into like high quality friends, because it will have a like tremendous positive impact on your life. Again, if you want to join my community with all like highly ambitious guys, more than welcome. Link is in the description, bro. Number 6, stuck in your head and being too analytical and being too serious. You know, like at the end of the day, women want to have fun, and if you're like too serious, it just kills the vibe. Now, and it's not only women that want to have fun, you want to have fun as well, man, you know. So fundamentally, I see that with a lot of guys, a lot of men, is like the older they get, the more they have been sort of defeated almost by life, by all the responsibilities, etc. So you gotta sort of activate, I call this the mini Hercules inside of you, you know, that is sort of your child self. And by that I mean there's a difference between being childish and being childlike. Childish is like what most men suffer from. It's just like being engaging like in fleeting pleasure, chasing fleeting pleasure, and being a clown. Yeah, I'm not saying that you should become childish, but I want you to learn to connect to your like mini Hercules again and be more childlike. What do I mean by that? When you look at children, bro, there's no judgment. They're just them. They're themselves. Yeah, they don't care about how silly they look, what people think of them when they like play on the playground, for instance, you know, or when they're at school. They ask silly questions because they're not for like children actually ask some of the most interesting questions, you know, because they don't care about what people think, you know. And this is a skill that 99% of men have totally lost. And it is, I'd say, one of my biggest assets that I bring, or that makes me so attractive to women, because I activate their mini Aphrodite, which is the authentic self. Because fundamentally everyone wants to be their real selves, you know, but we're just too scared because we've been conditioned to behave a specific way in society. And you gotta essentially ask yourself, okay, how can I be more childlike in my life, you know? I'm not saying that you should ditch your job and like just go live in Bali and chill. You can be a high achiever, but you can have fun while doing it, you know? Not everything has to be so serious, bro, you know? And what I teach, for instance, with my guys, actually in my coaching, in my masterminds, is like we get out of our heads. We do like weird exercises like imitating animal sounds. And last week I asked him to have a conversation in just animal language. So a pig like and a cow, moo, you know, that was the kind of conversation. They were not allowed to talk human. And they were fucking laughing their ass off. And they were like, it's been so long that it's been a long time that I felt so liberated and free again. Because that's fundamentally super attractive, because 99% of humans aren't free. They aren't liberated. They're stuck in their head, and they're like conditioned to live in a specific way that someone else has told him to live. So if you are different, bro, it makes you so much more attractive, and it makes life so much more fun, bro. So, like quick examples how I do that with like in real life. I'm like in the supermarket. Sometimes I just like start playing hide and seek with Sandra, you know, like the childlike nature. Sometimes I just start laughing, or I don't like also some of the things with Sandra, like I don't take her too serious, and like I see her as a princess, as the princess that doesn't want to do me any harm, you know. I love her, she's cute, but I don't take her too serious. So that when she is complaining, for instance, it's not that I'm condescending, but it's more like, okay, princess is hurting. She's not attacking me, she's hurting. And because of that, that mental model I have, I'm able to diffuse the situation very quickly. Sometimes with humor, sometimes like with my childlike nature, but sometimes also with, let's say, the right emotional depth. You know, like I lift her around, I carry her around. Like these are kind of things that women just appreciate because it like activates their mini Aphrodite. So you can ask yourself, as a fixed quick solution is, when was the last time you were silly? When was the last time you were real self? I know, like if you're at home now, just jump up and down. You're like, woo, you know, make these noises to get out of your head, bro. You will notice like a massive difference in how you feel about yourself, and that will then radiate a different energy, which will then attract the right women, bro.